So first of all, I want to thank all y'all for joining us. We apologize about the technical difficulties on Tuesday. It was a little troubling. We couldn't quite get it figured out, but glad we were able to regroup and have us all here tonight. We just want to go over all of our programming and not just what it says on the brochure, but the meaning behind the programming and why we have made some changes to everything. And we've done a lot of research, and this whole off season we've been grinding, trying to figure out the best way we can suit your kids, because we know it's been a tough year. So I would like to pass it over to Gavin. He's going to dive deep in everything. And at the end, I will go over all the programming, how to sign up and pricing and all of those questions. I'll answer those. And Mr. Gavin Parker, the floor is yours.
Hey, thank you. I just want to let everyone just take a minute to just give some knowledge of Corey Ambers. It's not just me. It's not just him. It's him and I together. And I couldn't do any of this without Corey. I don't know. You've seen a lot of the accolades that I might have had within the last couple months. No, it's Corey's just as much as it's mine. He's been with me since day one. We've been doing this since I think I was 23 when we started. He was 21. And this has been an awesome journey. He's my guy. And I love him to death. And I just want to say thank you guys so much for being here tonight. Without further ado, we're going to dive into it. I am recording this for everyone. So if anyone, you don't remember necessarily what I say, don't you worry about it. We're going to record everything, and I'll continue to post it. We'll have flyers around the club, videos, and we're going to keep it going. So, next slide. Oh, you got to click the button. Nice. So at the first slide, just our journey within junior golf has been the most traditional approach to junior golf that there can be. We started this journey in the junior golf space in 2016. We started with at Salisbury in 2018, and Corey and I were hired to just create junior programming at Salisbury Country Club. When we started, we just did what everyone else was doing. We thought that this was the only way that you were supposed to do junior golf. And it kind of started with PGA Junior League, which was a facet of the PGA and is essentially like Little League golf. And I do not think the PGA realized the brilliance and the genius behind their game design elements of PGA Junior League, where you would have kids be on a team and they would essentially play 9-hole matches, but you would section them in 3-hole kind of tournaments. So holes 1 through 3 would be a score, holes 4, 5, and 6 would be a score, and then holes 7, 8, and 9 would be a score. I think that the brilliance behind PGA Junior League would be Corey and I could be on the Purple Hyenas, and we could be playing against Mike and Andy on the Yellow Tomatoes, where Corey and I, we would win our match against those two guys, but our team would lose overall. So you had this element of camaraderie, this environment that was kind of team, but they really missed the boat on the player interaction piece. You could have 13-year-olds who are super skilled playing against 6-year-olds who never played golf, and then they would lose and then they would get crushed. So that piece kind of didn't work too well. Yet kids kind of aged out. So PGA Junior League wasn't optimal for all kids. And then you can hear like drive, chip, putt. Once again, it's really cool for kids who are into golf, but the outcomes are always predicated on who's the best, who can hit the ball the farthest, who can hit the closest. Then Operation 36, I had some buddies in college that actually created it, and it was the most holistic platform for parents and coaches to use. But once again, the kids really suffered. I'm saying all this to say this is everything in junior golf has always been done through the lens of adults trying to figure out the best thing for kids, where everything is celebrated on the traits, what you get out of it. Kids do not learn best by just being in a group and just because I'm giving them information, they're going to actually learn. They need something that's authentic, something that's genuine. And Corey and I are like, well, let's just make it ourselves. So what's going to happen tonight, I just want to kind of dive into what Corey and I are about to embark on and what we've been seeing. So without further ado, my name is Gavin Flotilla Parker. I have always wanted to be a golf instructor and a golf teacher. And for me, it has never been about creating the best pro golfer of all time. It's always been about the life skills, the attributes that golf can give you. I think it's safe to say that I'm a stick and ball savant. It would be disingenuous of me to tell all humans or all kids that taking a stick and hitting it with a ball is like the most amazing feeling ever, which is not like that for everyone. So I want to learn how to map more meaning to having a stick and a ball. What's basically going on tonight with everyone is junior golf is at a crossroads. We're at war for kids' attention. It's the 21st century. Golf was created in the 1700s by Scottish guys who were probably impaired by some beverages and thought it'd be really cool to hit a ball and then walk and go find it and then hit a ball and then walk and go find it again. And then record it on a score and be like, man, this is the greatest thing ever. But now it's the 21st century where there are VR systems, there's headsets, there's virtual reality, there are video games, there's consoles. And I have to fight for attention and tell kids that, hey, put that down and come over here and learn this game. That's really hard. That's going to take a long time to be really proficient at. And it's going to be the best thing ever. It's kind of hard to do. If we would ask 100 kids randomly, hey, do you want to play golf? And the research says that 99% of kids don't like traditional junior golf programs because the outcomes are all usually predicated on who's the best, who can hit the ball the farthest, who can hit the ball the closest, who can make the most putts. Where if you've never played golf a day in your life, you can't really win those games. And then when Corey and I try to make it too easy, you then don't feel like you earned anything because like we made the outcomes too easy for you. So what Corey and I value the most is recognizing what the golf culture is, what the culture at large is going on, and just what's going on right now in the world where esports is huge. It's second behind the NFL. In the next couple of years, esports will probably be bigger than NFL. So Corey and I need to be relevant of what's going on and how kids just consume enjoyment. Where, in our opinion, some kids want to shoot pars. We get that. Some kids want to record scores. Some kids want to be elite, and some kids want to do drills. But the issues with that, if we put all of the attention on the rhetorics of performance, it's not going to create the mental state that's healthy for kids in today's day and age, where if everything's fixated on grinding, be better than the next kid, working really hard, that can't be healthy. Why does golf, especially junior golf, why does everything have to be labeled for who is the best at this thing? Where that's kind of not like what life is too. Why can't you just do things for the sake of doing it? And all kids wanted to seek pleasure and avoid pain. And that's something we want to get down with today. So our coaching programs, our communities, it's nested in these 4 spheres of influence. We're defining these spheres through our help with a good friend of ours. His name's Richard Franklin from Discover Golf. He kind of helped us with this research. Is the golf culture. What is golf like in the 21st century? The values of what's important to golf. Is it just winning? Is it just being better? Is it hitting good shots? That is important, but that cannot solely be what our program's about. Our junior golf program is not solely about getting kids better at golf, because there's a couple other spheres of influences that are important, such as the culture at large. We live in this world of screen culture is huge. Kids are overstimulated. They're on screens because of COVID. Digital citizenship's huge, whether it's self-expression on social media. You can have Fortnite characters that can have dances that are relevant on TikTok. All that plays a part on how your kids are receiving the attention, how we're going to hook their attention, how we're going to keep them engaged. Then what is playing games really for? When we say games, we want to create games that are a series of meaningful choices to a quantifiable outcome. And the 4 pillars of the game design that Corey and I want to put on are randomness, How can we create outcomes where the person who's the best doesn't necessarily win all the games? Can we create resource management where it's dependent on your strategy throughout the game is why you win? Your choice architecture, your player interactions. I think that's the biggest thing that junior golf is missing, where just because your kid's on the range hitting a ball here next to another kid on the range hitting balls, they're not talking, they're not in close proximity, where if they play football, when you're on a football team, they literally consider that family. Little League baseball, it's the camaraderie. That's what playing games can be used for. And then one of the most important pieces is the human experience. How can we actually create trust with your kids? We found out that doing like the Op 36 style or just any coaching, when we had to test your kids on their skills and then report back to mom and dad that, look, this is what your kid needs to do better. Like, it's like we kind of feel like we're telling on your kids. Like, that's how we're going to create trust, how we're going to create a student first environment, how we're going to build a culture centered around play if we keep kind of telling on your kids what's going on. But Corey and I understand that the human experience is so much more than that. In order to play anything, it should be your choice. It should be voluntary. You shouldn't be coerced into doing it. To actually be playing, it needs to be a series of choices. If you're just told to have a circle out there and putt to it, that's not a choice. That's a task. That's a drill. That's kind of coerced. That's compulsion. That's not going to be sustainable to actually have your kids want to play golf for the rest of their lives. So right now, the culture moment that we're in is screens are bigger than ever. You kind of just look at the data. Fortunately, for some kids or most kids, the most they play is on a screen, is on a YouTube, is on a video game, is on a console of some kind. We want to get kids off screens and to get them in an environment that celebrates them, but uses the same reward psychology that they're using in video games, but actually in the game of golf, to actually make them want to come back, to actually want to enjoy their moments that they're here with us. And if you look at kind of the toy and game industry, that's been very important. How can we get kids to use toys and games to create creativity, to kind of work on emotional intelligence, to learn to make their own choices, to work on problem solving, critical thinking, resource management. And another cool thing about play is it can be generational. You can have your kids and your parents, grandparents, you can all do that together. And that's kind of what toys and games can be used as for. One of the biggest things, if you kind of look at like any outdoor kind of hobby space, it's been encouraging to get kids outside, to be a part of something, to be a part of a tribe. And that's kind of what our games are for. And when we say games, we mean legit games. When it comes to anything in youth space, the word fun is so overused, especially in the golf industry. You know, this word is the judge, jury, and executioner for everything that Corey and I do. After they leave our programming, no matter what happens, there's usually two questions parents ask. Hey, did you have fun? And when kids answer that question, that word fun really needs to be unpackaged. That word fun really means an anticipation of a reward. Fun for Tate Price could be knowing that his friend Liam's going to be in class. Fun for, William Franks could be knowing that he's going to have a coach that's always yelling and is going to at least have a game where he's going to be celebrated for his choices. Fun for one kid could be everyone knowing that he's the silly one and that, he's going to be the one making people laugh. Like, that all matters. But that's what kind of gets labeled and classified as fun. And then if they don't get asked what fun is, the next question is, well, what did you learn today? Where that question is even harder to ask because learning is literally abstract. Learning golf is messy. Just because you're giving a kid information, they're not a computer. They're not going to be able just to download it and regurgitate it back to you. Learning golf isn't a linear pathway to how much time and how much hard work you put into it should not always correlate to a result. Kind of doesn't work like that. So when we say games, ladies and gentlemen, this is the power of games. So I'm just going to share this clip with you guys. So watching that video, there was so much to unfold there. There was so much to unpack there. The first thing Corey and I want to make sure we all know is that when we're saying we're using games, they're the vehicle and the conduit for which we'll let the learning, the golf skills live in. By using games like King Putt, it creates a more distilled approach of golf. It takes the best parts of golf in a faster environment that's easier to digest for kids. That's not the same, oh, hold the club like this, stand like this, hit it here. But playing games that allows your kids to be playing. Now they're immersed in an environment that's very similar to the environment that they're going to need for the traditional sense of golf, meaning to have a plan, to have a direction for where you want to go, to actually want to get the thing. But unless we can make it interesting enough and compelling enough to get them off a screen, just taking a stick and just hitting it with a ball is not going to be enough meaning to make them want to keep doing it over and over and over again. And then not to mention, these games are a little complex. They're quite deep. So they're layering more meaning. They're focusing kids to actually listen, to be engaged, because that's fun. Learning is fun. Just not yelling and screaming. It was fun for Jackson to know that the more he played King Putt, the more that he was playing, the more he was learning. The more that he was learning, there's more for him to learn. That's the power of play. Oh, got a little ahead of myself. Let me slow my roll. Oh. So, what is play for? Before 2 years ago, I thought play was only done through progress. That's why you play all sports. You play to get better. Boy, was that wrong. There's like 7 rhetorics to play, or 7 rhetorics to why we should even play golf. Now, 3 of the 7 rhetorics are kind of ancient that we no longer need. But what's really important is you play for a sense of imagination. Play allows you to create this experience about yourself where like you're ready to let go of failure, to let go of looking bad, to let go of looking silly. Through the conduits and the magic of playing games, you're willing to become somebody new. You can imagine a whole new identity. You're role playing. You're no longer Tate Price. You're playing Go for Broke, where you're a real estate mogul, or you're playing King Putt, where you're on a quest in the ancient Nile River and you're willing to look silly or hit a bad shot. But it's not because you're not good at the golf piece. You're just playing a game. Another rhetoric of play is it creates a community identity, meaning we are using a stick and a ball to create a community at Salisbury that's centered around play. We are stylizing that here at Salisbury, this is how we play. We're going to have, I mean, we all know it. You're going to have these kids who are 12, 13, 14, 15 who think they're too cool for anything, but they're going to look around and start noticing that, whoa, everyone else here is doing this too. Okay, I'm ready to dive in. That's what play is for. Play can create this connection to what we're doing. That's why we're members of Salisbury, or that's why we joined Salisbury. We can argue that being a country club member is a form of play. That's your identity. That's who you are. That layers even more meanings to why kids will want to come back and keep playing with Corey and I. But I think the most important and the most undervalued approach of play is like you learn about yourself. Playing games like King Putt, you're going to start noticing that you are nervous. And then you're going to ask yourself, does that mean I'm a nervous person? No, I'm not a nervous person. I just really want to win right now. Now your kids are going to be in a moment where this is the attribute you would want them to be experiencing. This moment right now where their whole decision of what can happen on this outcomes predicated on them. They're not being coerced into it. They're not being forced. They're being able to make their own choices, and they're going to learn about themselves. They can develop emotional intelligence. This can give them an opportunity to collaborate, to strategize, to work on more skills than just, oh, I got a really good golf swing. From the beginning, Corey and I have always, we use golf to teach life skills, but to make them actually authentic and relevant, and not just to say, oh, we're teaching respect and integrity and responsibility. Like, that's not what we do. We do things that are even more important. Like, we want to use play to create a culture that's centered around inclusion, accessibility, hostile. We want to create frustration. We want to create fear. We want to create wonderment and introspection and harmony. And those are in triumph, but those are a little bit more sophisticated than just saying we want to get performance and get your kids better at golf. Those are attributes those are the values that Corey and I want to create. And we don't want our junior golf program to solely be about getting kids better at golf. However, this is the cool piece is there's kind of two schools of thought in golf instruction and getting better and acquiring skill in golf too. This is what makes games so interesting. And the first school of thought is the cognitive, hey, this is what you're doing wrong, so let me tell you how to fix that. That approach is tough to do for kids. Kids don't do too well with free play, especially in golf. It gets boring. I've seen it. You've seen it all in traditional junior golf programs. Just putting kids on the range and telling them just to hit balls, that quickly gets sloppy. And then if we sit there and say, no, you need to do this or change this, then they get bored because now they feel like you're coaching at them instead of telling them. So then the next school of thought for getting better for junior golf is constraint-based coaching, where you put something in their way where they can acquire the skills. So if you look at the games like King Putt, those are grids that are pretty small. We can work on trajectory control, distance control, hitting things over targets, changing your grip, trying different ball positions without us having to use those words, where if we can engineer and become environmental architects, then we can get the golf skills as a byproduct without trying to put those in there. For Corey and I, our goal has always been teaching people, not golf. Our goal, our coaches, are truly to empower kids. We empower kids to make their own decisions. We empower kids to want to become inspired. We inspire kids with just enthusiasm, with just creativity, and we just give a little bit of effort. We want everyone to know that play is not just for progress. Obviously, we do know that some kids do want to be good at golf, and we're not here to slow their rolls. So that's why we spend a lot of time putting a program in place for the kids that do want to get better at golf. But I don't want to use the word fun as that threshold of, oh, no, my kids want to just do this for fun, and my kids want to be serious golfers, because that's the biggest issue. Because that word's really distilling the message, because the kids that want to be good, it's fun for them to be really good. So we don't want to label and separate our junior program by, oh, we have these serious golfers and then the kids who just want to have fun. We want to use a golf course to offer an environment where if your kids want to come see Corey and I because they just don't want to go to soccer, they're curious, they want to be a part of something, they want to try something new, those statements are just as valid as the kids who want to be here to get better at golf. And we want to offer an environment for all kids, and we use play to do that. One more video for you guys. So as you can see, we use games to allow kids to be themselves. We're not going to try to harness them, try to tell them something they don't have to be, and try to control them and say, oh, no, because it's golf, you got to act like this. That's the mode we're trying to change. Oh, next slide. A lot of you guys probably, but he would always ask me, Gavin, would you rather create something better or create something new? And Corey and I are here to say, man, we about to do both. So in junior golf right now, this is the most important thing for us is our goals as coaches, our goals, like we said from the jump, the values that we want to create is we want to empower kids. We want to create a culture centered around play, and under play, we now know what play is for. Play is not just for progress. Play is to learn about yourself. Play is to create a series of meaningful choices. Play is for self-expression. For that, play can be used for all kids. And then as they experience play, they will acquire the skills necessary for them to start making their choices to say, hey, mom and dad, I do want to be good. We have a place for them. From there, we need to create a child-centric approach. In order to do that, we need to create environments where kids actually trust us, where we are not just valuing the traits of golf, but more of the states. In order to do that, we're going to have to disrupt the status quo. When you have your kids playing Go for Broke or French Fighters or Birds on a Perch or Eskimoji, I just want you all to know that we're taking the best parts of golf and delivering it in a more richer reward structure that's similar to the games that they play via screens, via Fortnite, via Call of Duty, via any games. That's the level of game design that Corey and I are going into. And when we say games, we don't want you guys to think it's soft. When we say play, we're not having kids make up their own games, mom and dad. When we say games, we're talking about a strict set of rules that because they have rules, they do have an outcome. They're not playing for fun. They're playing for an outcome. And the outcomes are not solely predicated on who's the best, but on who played the game the most efficiently. It was lucky. It was random. And now our games can add some player interactions. Where everything else in junior golf, just because we have somebody that's regurgitating TrackMan numbers or saying that your kid needs to be in this 15-year curriculum to shoot this score, it's quite disingenuous. If I've learned anything is like, I truly have to be minute by minute, holding matches and testing kids on badges. Corey and I quickly realized the reason kids wanted to take these badges and earn skill point chips is because we would have a skill point store where they would be able to buy things. So what they really wanted was to get the prize of the thing instead of taking the time to learn the skills necessary. But that was Corey and I learning that the rest of the golf industry has only just done a shallow end into like what games and what play can be used for. They only think of playing games to create the extrinsic motivation, not the intrinsic motivation. We want to create play to do it for the sake of doing it, not to have some means to an end. Where obviously there's going to be kids who do want to get better, who do want to improve, and we have a platform in place to do that as well. But all kids want to seek enjoyment and pleasure and want to avoid pain, but to put all kids through those rhetorics of progress, to make all kids feel like you have to conform into golf culture and be like this, that's not what Corey and I value. Corey and I value inclusion and accessibility and agency. And that's what we want to do different moving forward. And that's where we're going with the Salisbury Golf Academy. So I'm going to turn it over to
the Flow
Corey.
Show is going to be classes of exactly what Gavin just spent time talking about. It'll be 90 minutes. You go over the games, and then we're going to break them up, and they're just going to play. And as they play, they'll actually learn how to actually play the games and also develop new strategies, start player interaction, asking each other, like, because they'll have teammates, so they can figure out a strategy that works, what doesn't work. And then they're kind of working together in golf, which is an individual sport. But if we can bring everyone together, such as every other sport, and they can enjoy it together, they're going to want to play forever. In this class, we have 8 weeks. You can see us up to 3 times a week. So from 1 time to 3 times a week, you can see us. Or if you want to try it out, you can just let us know, and you can come to any class you would like. Whatever friends are in it, you can connect with them and join them for class. And for the Flow Show package, we will be having 4 Saturday matches starting at 4 p.m. And we have those dates, getting them verified with Andy and Mike to make sure it's a go. But it's going to be in about late April, early May. For those, you don't have to play in them. If you want to play in matches, let me know, and I will be able to group you with your friends so you can be in your same cohort and play from whatever distance deemed suitable for you guys. So like Gavin said, we're not trying to slow anyone's roll. We want people to enjoy the game, because once you enjoy the game, then you might want to pursue it further. And then the next package will be the Golf Flow Academy. This is for the more serious golfers that already have that golf bug and want to pursue it. And this will be more traditional, but if you know Gavin and I, we don't really do anything traditional, and we're going to spice it up, and it's going to be fun regardless, but it'll be more constraint-based coaching. It'll be more, not task, but more serious and skill development. And for this, we'll actually have 6 Thursday matches where it'll be Ryder FedEx Cup style points, where we'll keep track of each match and break it up into divisions and see who gathers the most points at the end of the year, just so kids can track that and feel like they're playing in a real tournament setting at Salisbury Country Club, which we have a lot of golfers that want to pursue that as well. And I think that could be very fun. And with that, we have classes Tuesday, Wednesday, Friday, 4:45 to 5:45. And then we also have a supervised practice from 10 to 11:30 on Saturdays. So you can see us 2 times a week, 3 times a week, or unlimited. That's really up to y'all, whatever fits your schedules. And all the pricing is on the website and in the junior portal.
And I just want to add to the Golf Flow Academy that there are some requirements to doing this. There main requires your child must be able to shoot 36 or lower from 100 yards out. I think the Golf Flow Academy piece is for those kids that want to be good at golf. And I really want to say this again. This is for those kids who want to be good at golf, the kids who identify as golfers. At some point, if Corey and I keep doing the right things the right way, we hope that all kids that we coach would want to be good at golf, but it would be a lie for me and Corey to say that we want all kids to love golf as much as we do, because we want that to be their choice. So once again, the Golf Flow Academy, I really, really would encourage that if your kids want to do this, please put them in here. Because the Golf Flow Academy is quite golf intensive, and I'm willing to show you all, if you agree with Corey and I, that even though this is for the kids that do want to be good at golf, what Corey and I value are the life skills that you can get from playing golf, where the words, "Hey, did you have fun?" should always be coming when they leave you. And if those are the words that are no longer happening when your kids are in this program, Corey and I would love to talk to you after it, but we want to just communicate that to you guys, that even though this is the Golf Flow Academy, the rhetorics and the outcomes and the attributes that we're quantifying as success do not just solely predicate on the performance piece. So if you want a program that's solely to get your kids better at golf, neither one of these programs are for you and your family. If you only want a program that solely gets your kid better at golf, that's not what Corey and I offer you. We are going to help you create human beings who happen to be skilled at golf. Just want you to know that. Hey, Corey, with the Golf Flow Academy matches, are we doing, what are the thoughts for the Golf Flow Academy matches? We said we're going to do Saturdays.
So the Golf Flow Academy matches are going to be Thursday at 5, but the Flow Show matches will be Saturdays around 4:00.
Got it. So the Golf Flow Academy match will be Thursday, but let's say Saturday there will be options to still be playing matches if you cannot do those Thursdays.
Correct.
Got it. Thank you, Corey.
Yes,
now I want to turn it over, and I'm going to unmute anyone if you do have questions, or I guess to consolidate that because we have quite a few people on the call. How do we want to handle questions, Corey?
Yeah. And last thing, when it comes to enrolling for any classes, it is on the Salisbury Country Club website. If you go under the golf tab, it'll be junior golf, and then it'll pop up, and at the top it'll have class schedules, parent login, create account. So you can just follow those steps, and it'll take you to iClass Pro. And once you get to iClass Pro, if you want to do 1 times a week, 2 times a week, 3 times a week, you can sign up for each class in there. But when you get to the billing, it's going to give you a wild number. Do not pay that any attention. We do all the billings through the country club. We just use iClass as a placeholder. So for organizational for our end, and then you can also see which other friends are in those classes as well.
Love it. So how do I unmute? I love this. Perfect. Do the muting stuff. Unmute. Perfect. Does anyone have any questions?
Aaron Walsh, does the twice a week for Academy mean 1 lesson in a match or 2 lessons in the matches for everyone? So it'll mean the matches is included with it. So you can pick 2 days a week. It can be 2 weekdays. It can be a weekday and the Saturday, supervised practice, whichever one fits your schedule best. And also, Gavin and I, we are going to be sending out some information for the youngsters, ages 4 to 6. We'll be starting up classes on Saturdays in about 3 weeks. We want to get the academy and everything off the ground. Then early April, we're going to start classes for the 4 to 6-year-olds, and those will be on Saturday afternoons. And we're going to run that for about 8 weeks as well. Any other questions?
Hey, Corey, it's
Yes,
Scott.
sir.
Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Can you talk? So on each of these days, there are classes for each one. So the academy or the other, who are the instructors for each one? Obviously, if you've got 2 different groups, it's going to be splitting up. Are there other people besides the 2 of you, or is it just the 2 of you?
Yes. So we'll be, one of us will be a majority of every class y'all take. Gavin and I will switch off some days Flow Show. I'll do Flow Show. He'll do Golf Academy. We'll switch it off. Alan Day will be running some academy classes, as well as Andy Bender and even Mike Hott for some of the Golf Flow Academy classes. But for the most part, in majority of days, Gavin or I will be at every single class. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, I just didn't know what the ratio is going to be if there was, 30 kids in a class and someone trying to corral them. I can imagine what that would be like.
Yeah, that's been our favorite thing, and I think that's been, I guess, the hardest part for Corey and I. We've been doing it so long with him and I that we've struggled to ask for help, and that's been the thing we've been learning to most is if we actually ask for help, people usually like to give it. So we will say for the Golf Flow Academy, Scott, that will be a pretty strict student coach ratio, probably 4 to 1, meaning Alan, Corey, Alan, myself, like the Golf Flow Academy will have more, a 4 to 1 student coach ratio, where the Flow Show, I'm working on building an army of 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21-year-olds who are enthusiastic, who are energetic. And I think that's the power of good game design is the games have rules and they have structures. Like you remember we played Triple Crown, you just need someone to help encourage the game design piece. And for the Flow Show, it's super important that as we have 30 kids, that 4 to 1 student coach ratio becomes so imperative. Most of the games that we have engineered, max per game is 4. We probably have 60, 6 games at our arsenal. So that's going to be our favorite piece. And I think that's what's going to make this years and the years moving forward the most important, Scott, is we're realizing that we truly can't do it ourselves, and we're actually asking for help, and we're getting it. And we're going to start being able to create an environment where we have 16, 17, 18-year-olds where your kids kind of can look up to, create relationships with as well. And we can actually create a sustainable play culture. And now we're truly stylizing play, and everyone's a part of it. We all understand our values. And I think that can kind of create an environment that what Salisbury needs. And I think that's what we've always lacked, is we can't just be Corey and I, because now it's not safe.
Great, thanks.
Anybody else?
Awesome. Well, thank you guys so much. Oh, yeah. Thank you, James. Thank you guys so much for listening. And we appreciate you, and we're looking forward for this year.